Good evening. I'm Gloria, and this is Open Minds Chat Show. First of all, excuse me, I'm chewing a lozenge because I have the dreaded bug of hay fever. So my throat, my ears, everything is like, ugh. So, good evening and welcome. I have an amazing guest who's been on the Inception podcast, Jonathon Meyers, and I've been so looking forward. I kept checking with him all week, didn't I, Jonathon? Are you coming on? Do you remember? You're booked. You're booked. He's such a busy man. So, welcome to Open Minds Chat Show, Jonathon.
Thank you. Thank you. Very excited to be here. I love doing shows with you. It's always very fun and entertaining and very awakening, I would say.
I thank you. I love it because we tend to go down the rabbit hole, don't we? That's where we go.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Yes, we do. And are you ready to go down the rabbit hole again with me?
Oh, I don't know if I've ever come up from the rabbit hole.
Love it. Right. So, tell the audience who may be unaware of you, um, what you're about your podcasts. Do a brief synopsis of that.
Um, well, I was always very interested in conspiracies. I just always found them so fascinating. Even if one of them were right out of 20, it would change my complete perspective on life as I knew it.
Mhm.
Because you grow up and you have this perspective. Maybe it's taught by your parents or your teachers or your sports coaches or whoever, and we build that up, and as soon as something else like throws a ratchet into it, it completely shatters what you thought reality was. And that's why I always gravitated towards conspiracies, because I was just like, oh my god, if the Illuminati's real, like if 9/11 really happened, if JFK was really shot by his limo driver, oh my god, like all these things. And yeah, it's just, reality isn't what you think, because they say perspective is reality, and in that case there is no reality because everybody has a different perspective.
Yeah.
And last year, was it last year? Year before last, with the whole sickness that happened. Um, I just kept on seeing so many weird signs of everything. And I was like, it would be really fun if I just started a conspiracy podcast. I know a lot of them. I know about a lot of them.
Mhm.
And most of my friends are tired of hearing them. So so I was like, maybe I can find somebody else to talk to about it. And so we started the conspiracy show, and it just, as you go deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, you just understand,
Mhm.
like, what are we living in? Like, is this some kind of simulation? Is this a realm? I mean, is the universe even the universe? I was just asking myself these
Yeah.
questions, and so going through all these conspiracies, it made me more spiritual than I could ever imagine,
Mhm.
because you realize that if one thing's possible, then anything's possible. And
Mhm.
so you start going down like quantum mechanics, and I had a few people on my show that learned the Dolores Cannon stuff, the
Mhm.
QHHT and quantum healing hypnosis, and that kind of sparked my interest. So I was like, hey, I'll try it out. So I went to school for it, and I hypnotized some people. I got hypnotized a few times, and
Mhm.
it's just all these little things add up, and you realize that reality kind of is just what you form into it, like what you make it of, whatever you make it of. And yeah, so yeah, I want to stay down the rabbit hole. I don't ever want to come up.
No, I don't think we could ever get back up. We've gone too far down. I mean, going on the back of what you just said is like, it is conspiracy theories. Because I remember back in the day, because you're a nice young one and I'm slightly mature. I'm mature wine, okay? I followed I mean, I used to watch Art Bell. I mean, that was it for me, Art Bell. And I'd get more and more. And every time I went into the Art Bell show, and others as well, but it was Art Bell, I've got to say. Um, I said, well, if that's not true, then what about this? And then, my God, it would come up on the show. Someone else would bring another, their perception on something. So, for me, I started way back in the day deconstructing unknowingly at that point my belief systems, and what I thought to be true wasn't. It's everything started to flip Does that make sense to you? It was like breaking it down as you were going through conspiracy theories, and then when you get them on the show, you talk to people, and then wow, yeah, and it just keeps going. Did you find that?
Oh, definitely. And I love how you brought up Art Bell, because that's who I really try to mimic whenever I'm doing my show. He's
Oh,
very open to
yeah,
doing, like, to having a very open mind to anything. Like, and that's how I like to run my shows. Like,
yeah,
first of all, who am I to tell somebody that they're wrong?
exactly.
And secondly, like, I've I've only been here for 31 years. I don't know what went on all the other thousands of years.
Yeah,
I mean, I find it amazing just to explore the possibilities of that. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm kind of the same way with that.
yeah. I think he's influenced a lot of people, whether young or older. Um, because the way I mean, I like my shows like you. I like them to be organic. I'll take any truth that comes on, long as it's not, offensive or anything like that, and it doesn't resonate. It doesn't matter. I'm open minded, and I think having an open mind like that, even though it doesn't, because what I'm trying to say is our truths change, don't they, Jonathan? Our truths change as we interact or we interview or we have a comment. Our truths change. They shift. The perception expands, and if I can look back to a year ago, my truths have shifted since 1 year on some aspects. How about you?
Oh my God, big time. I actually
Yeah.
we just got, you know how they get those notifications on Facebook, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this from a year ago. And it was my show from a year ago, and I was like, oh my God, what was I even saying? And so yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Perspectives are always changing. My life as I know it, like, completely turned upside down and nowhere
Yeah.
near even the same as it
Yeah.
was a year ago. Not even just, the materialistic things. It's
Yeah.
like my entire mentality around it. I
Yeah.
used to be like, um, I didn't grow up in a Christian family or anything. It's not that they were anti or for. It was just, not really something we talked about. And so, like, coming from that perspective, I used to always just think, man, like, Christians are so silly. You know what I'm saying? I used to always have that mindset. But now, my co-host is a Christian. He believes, and I'm not even saying that I believe in certain religions. I'm not one for religions whatsoever, but I get how people could believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't, and I'm not trying to say what's real and what's not. I mean, it's just through my perspective. So yeah, I mean, perspectives definitely change over the years, and
Yeah.
I would say, my entire aspect of the show is to open up your third eye. And I mean, shutting things off just because you don't like them is the opposite of opening up your third eye, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I know I agree because I have one of my, multiple analogies here. And what you resist persists. And if you're resisting something, you need to look at yourself. It doesn't mean it's going to become your truth, but there's something, it's there, it's coming towards you to show up the resistance you're having to do the work, which is opening the third eye, because it should be a non-judgmental where we can all communicate. Because another analogy, I always use is I have an orange. Let's cut the orange in half the orange for you, half the orange for me. We are both experiencing eating this orange. However, we are experiencing it totally different, um, from a different perception, taste, sense, smell, reaction. And to me, this is why I love show hosts like yourself that allows any perception, any perspective to come on, to open up, because that's how it should be, is it not? And by all of us doing that, do you find we're like all pieces of the puzzle coming together?
Ah, definitely. I just got a thought too. So whenever I did the schooling for Dolores Cannon's,
Yeah,
her work, she talked a lot about imprints,
yeah,
and about how some people have past life memories of being Marilyn Monroe, or,
yeah, yeah,
certain presidents, and it's like, or Cleopatra or something.
yeah,
And it's like, well, not everybody could have been that person. There's no way. And
yeah,
that's whenever she talked a lot about imprints. Well, you might have just taken on that might have just been some kind of download into your soul, so that way you can have those life experiences looking forward, and it'll change your complete perspective. And so
Yeah.
how I look at our conspiracy show is a little bit like that, because I'm not living through just my own perspective. I'm seeing hundreds of different perspectives, and in turn, it's shaping the way I look at things.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just a beautiful thing. I don't care what it is. You want to talk about chemtrails or Bigfoot or aliens or magic mushrooms or ayahuasca, it doesn't matter. Like, I love hearing about all of it, and you know, it just makes me more accepting to everything.
I also find, you know, I keep checking in with myself, like a guest to come on the show and talk about something, and I can pull back a memory going, oh my God, like so many years ago, that would have been a no, you know. And I wanted to say about when you looked at your show a year ago and you've seen the difference, I think that's really good, because you can see how far down the rabbit hole you've come, you've grown, you've expanded. Do you know, there are some people, when they say, you know, their third eye's open, they're awake, they're self-aware, but they go and delete all their past posts. Why would you do that? That would be an egotistic act to me, would it not to you?
Yeah, because then that person is trying to portray somebody who they're not. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about opening up your third eye, is like the process of getting there.
It's
and
the process.
nobody is just, I mean, I guess you kind of are born with your third eye open, then it, you know, kind of crusts over time. But yeah, it's like, you know, the process is the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing of life in general. And so, yeah, I mean, going and changing things, I'm not deleting anything. I still have all my old episodes up there. Like, people want to go check that out and see how terrible they are, like, you're more than welcome.
But for me, I mean, you know, I very rarely watch my own shows unless I've had a guest on that just so like, wow. And I thought I need to go and listen to it as the audience, because I really want to grasp it. And other than that, I never watch them. I don't need to watch them. Or if I need to remember what I've said, because when I don't know about you, when I do a show, when you open up and consciously and open up to do what we've spoke about, what we do, I forget everything I've said. Do you ever remember a damn thing you've said? I don't remember jack shit when I'm talking.
Oh my, I forget so many things because there's so many details with everything. And it's just like, I remember the main gist of things for the most part. But I mean, unless I'm personally there experiencing some certain thing, it's easier to remember experiencing things rather than just listening or learning about things.
Absolutely. Right, now we've sort of got a background and where we're coming from. So I want to introduce this aspect. It's part of Open Up Your Third Eye and how you opened up your third eye. And I want to add this to the mix. My truth is, through self-realization, non-duality, whatever you want to call it, self-awareness is I've become aware of the beingness I am. Now, that's just my vocabulary, my way of expressing it, and you may express it different. I mean, when you was on my Section 8 doors, do you remember we went so far down the rabbit hole? It was like, whoa, you know, there was no human, there was no Homo sapien conversation there. It was boom. But it's opening up the third eye. People say, what does that mean? And my interpretation at the moment that could change is, I would say, well, who are you becoming by opening up your third eye? And then I would say, and that beingness, whatever terminology you would like to call it, is the process of opening up the third eye. Does that resonate in any way with you?
Yeah, I mean, I always say, I don't know anything. I just know what it's not. And that's kind of how I go about life. You know, if we're talking about the government, they're not on our side. No government's on our side. If we're talking about like, if we believe that everybody is always going to be perfect and do right by you, well, I mean, you're never going to do right by everybody all the time either. So why would you expect that of anybody else? And, but yeah, I think that like going down the rabbit hole and opening up your third eye, that's the biggest thing is just gaining perspective. That's the biggest thing, because, you know, and there's sometimes where I almost, I obviously, you know, I love the hypnotherapy stuff. So I
Mm.
love talking or thinking about my higher self, whatever that may be. Maybe it's ancestors. Maybe it's, you know,
Mm.
actually the great and powerful me. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I think about that kind of stuff, and I just sometimes I'll be doing something and I'll think, ah, no, and I feel like I'm looking down at myself from
Yeah.
above, and
Yeah.
I'll think, oh, this is a great memory to have. And it's just a beautiful thing. I'm not somebody who cries. I don't cry at all.
No.
And it's not, I'm not some big macho man. I promise you that. But
No, he's not a macho man. He's not. He's lovely. He's a love bug, and he's contagious. Right, go on.
but whenever we found out, we just found out, me and my fiance, we found out we're having a boy.
Yep.
And oh my God,
Congratulations.
thank you. I just broke down in tears. I couldn't hold it together. We were in a restaurant and I'm just sitting there crying over my food.
Good.
And I was, because like we had found out like an hour before that. And like, I was just shell shocked. It didn't really hit me because I always wanted a boy.
Yeah.
And not that, I mean, I love my daughter, of course, but men always love having their boys.
Mhm.
And so when I was just sitting there, I was just like, oh my God, like I can't believe this is my first time ever crying in front of my fiance. I'm crying about, like, I'm picturing what life is going to be like, or what life is going to be like having a boy, like get to teach him sports, and maybe he'll be into conspiracies one day. I don't know. But you know, it's that higher self that just comes into perspective, and
Yeah.
it's just an amazing thing, because it's kind of like whenever you're in meditation. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm somebody who frequently meditates.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like whenever I get deep enough in meditation, it's like my whole energy, whatever it is, it
Mhm.
goes, and I'm
Yeah.
instantly just right here. It's so
Yeah.
weird. Like all
Yeah.
of me is
Yeah.
just like right in front of
I know
me.
what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, I feel like I can even look around without even moving my head.
Mhm.
And it's, you come to the realization that it's like, what are we so worked up about? There's
I know.
like this is so temporary, that
Yes.
why are we so worked up about these things?
Yes.
And I believe that is, I mean, that's opening up your third eye all the way, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I mean, there's so much we can touch on there. I mean, the truth, my truth always changes. I no longer eat humble pie because I'm open as the experiences flow. It, consciousness is alive, is energy, it's creative, it's going to change, and then your whole reality changes with it as you change. Like I've said for over a year now, I'm on a different timeline to them lot. I don't know what they've gone through, but I've been through bliss the last year. Um, but what's coming, the way that you just described that, and I think about all the things that have been happening to me, and then and like you, and I go, why are people stressed? What, or I hear someone come up and talk about, we need to fear, we got these walkings coming in and taking over the world. I'm going, we are the fucking walk-ins. We don't belong here. We are the gods. Yeah, we are the beings. Whatever label you want. And what if we did have all these walk-ins that come in? Does it matter? No, it doesn't. It's your perception of them is what you will experience. Yeah?
Yeah, I think, I mean, good always wins, in my opinion. I don't think the evil has ever, like, it's kind of like evil wins the battles, but the good always wins the wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think, like, that's why I don't really worry about what's going on over
No,
in Russia and
no,
Ukraine. I mean,
no,
we talk about it on the show. I mean,
no.
but it's it's not affecting me. And to be quite honest, like, if it does come over here and if it does affect us somehow, we're very prepared, so we're not worried
There you
about
go.
it.
So why would you worry about it?
Yeah.
And I was, because another thing about when you open up your third eye, you find that before that, um, you would worry about a future event, and you'd worry so much, you'd ruin your whole human experience, stressing yourself and everyone out. And by the time you got to that event, you're worrying about the next event. And the one thing about coming from where you're talking from is until it comes in my experience, it's none of my business. If it comes into my experience, then I have to respond, and I will respond the right way to respond. So why worry about something that isn't or isn't in your timeline at this moment? Awareness is good. Be aware. But I agree with you. Totally agree with you. I mean, come on. I mean, how could you be fearful or anything when you're going to be a dad or a boy? You've got a beautiful daughter now. And you've got a beautiful niece, by the way. She's so cute. She looks like you. That's what I thought. Is she yours as well? She looks like you.
Our genes are strong.
Your genes are strong. Onward and forward. So let's go back to this being, this being. I've had a few conversations on a few shows recently. It's going to come up again because it seems to be a hot topic with the people that I hang out with. Who is this being? Now, I know you're going to go resonance back to the 8 doors of consciousness. We went down that rabbit hole, but I want to take it a step higher. Now, at the end of opening up the third eye, it is a self-realization that you're not the image or the idea you thought you were. You're not that. So you're not the name, the religion, we know all that stuff. And it's coming in from many different areas that, okay, who is this being? Well, we know on the fundamental aspect, it's consciousness, source. Well, we got that. But however, we're playing the role in the 3D reality of the hide and seek, and we're wearing different masks. Soon you're going to put on another mask, the daddy mask again, okay, of a newborn and raising. Do you see what I'm saying? So many have spoke about hearing, and it really does resonate with me. Some people are saying, well, I think, them ETs you think that are coming. I'm a contactee, abduction contactee. Them ETs, that's us. And I thought, well, I don't have a problem with that. I can quite resonate with that. And they've come in to have this experience for growth, and then they go off. All of the different scenarios. How do you feel about that? Let me throw that one at you.
That's a question right there. And you can go so deep with it because technically everything is us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like technically we're all atoms. We're all like these little we're all soul, we're all these spirits, and the table that I'm using right now is is still the same thing as me. Like we all come from the same thing.
Right.
But of course, I mean, it's just like a family of, I'm one of 3 kids in my family.
Yeah.
We all have such different lives. Like me, my brother, my sister, none of us, we came from the same upbringing.
Yeah.
We played all the same sports. My sister even played football with us.
Yeah.
Like we all same parents and everything, right?
Yeah.
That was all of our experience. Why are our lives so different? And that's whenever you get into, are they us or are they really not us? Mm-hmm. And I guess whenever you break it down into subcategories, maybe they are. I don't know. That's a question that, I go back and forth with, because you hear the Christian perspective saying, oh, there's no aliens, they're just demons.
Yeah.
And then you hear the open-minded people that are just like, aliens are here. Yes. Like I hear people always getting contacted. I mean, but then there's the things that you don't see. There's the things that go on in the ethereal realm that we just have almost no idea about what the hell it is. Yeah. Like people look at planets and they're like, oh, well, we can go there one day. And I just say, well, I mean, you can go there in meditation in 5 minutes. Yeah. And so I think that these are all consciousness. Everything is consciousness.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like, if they were bad, they would have destroyed us already.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I don't believe they're bad. I mean, to me, if you're coming into a 3D experience, now I have the understanding, obviously being a contactee as well, is that you're not just going to experience one type of beings like humans, Homo sapiens sapien. These beings, we call them ET, but I don't know. But they've been here since we can go back, recorded history, even on cave walls and all the way back. So they've always been part of the 3D polarity. They've always been part of this experience that we're going through. So for me, and I will say, well, we're obviously connected in the consciousness we know, source one. Put that to one side. Come back to, so if we're in the juxtaposition, I'm a Homo sapiens sapien, but I'm also source. So the juxtaposition, if I'm speaking from my, the Gloria being the avatar, is we're connected DNA as well. I mean, that from science now is really coming out with our DNA, how we're connected. So I would have no issue if I'm like, some gorgeous Palladian. It doesn't really bother me. Do you know what I mean? Coming into, one thing I do know, I came here to have the human experience. That's all I know. I'm like a visitor. I'm not the Homo sapiens sapien. It's another. This is I don't like it, but it's a dream. It's a play. It's whatever you want. So I know that much. And I think the more people have this conversation, well, who is that come in to have the human experience? I think the more that we discuss this, the more our open minds become more open, the third eye become more open and expand for us to be aware of our relationship with them. And then who knows, maybe it will be, I don't want to say they're just going to turn up. They're already here. But you understand what I'm trying to say to you? It's a very paradoxical question, I know.
No, that's okay. I think that, like, for sure we're special. There's no doubt about it. We're definitely, we're so capable. We're very resilient. We're very, we're so creative. Like, everybody is creative in their own way. Where does that come from? What is the point of being creative if we're just here for a couple of years and then we forget it and we die and nothing else happens after that? No, there's something to it. Why else would the media be blasting us with fear campaigns all day?
Yeah.
Why else would they be, poisoning our food and our water and our air? Like, there's a reason that they're trying to bog us down. And it's because we are superhuman. Like, to be human is to be superhuman, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
And I mean, all you got to do, it's the easiest thing you can do. Just sit with yourself for 10 minutes in meditation. I personally listen to 432 hertz meditation tone. It's like a music. And it becomes so clear that whatever is going on with you, whatever's going on in real life, and whatever you see on the news, and whatever kind of crazy mess you got yourself weaved up in, you know that it's not going to last forever, and it's not going to be the end of your life.
No.
And so I think that coming to that realization, it's just a beautiful thing, because the little things don't affect me anymore. If somebody wants to be mad at me because for whatever reason, I'm just like, all right. I got better things to do. I got better things to do with my time. Like, I don't try to, I don't like keep myself depressed or anxious or any of this. No. If I am depressed or anxious, okay, well, I just watch what I'm eating. I watch what I'm drinking. I sit with myself for 10 or 15 minutes every night in meditation, and occasionally do some mushrooms and smoke some weed, but that's neither here nor there.
Love it. I want to touch on what you just said. The little things don't bother you no more. And that's what I found back in the day. It was small things, and it's just like a fly. And then I would look at that, like introspection, and go, oh my God, I remember back in the day, I would go, rah, 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 World War III. Yeah. And I think introspection is a really good thing. When you sit in the silence and you think, wow. And you try to, and I think that is connecting to the beingness. That is starting to do the inner work as well. There's many ways to do it. But I noticed the little things went first. And then, concepts started to deconstruct themselves. Really, you have to do this, to do that, to do that. And I went, no, because if you realize the beingness can do it this way, like you said earlier on, someone says, oh, do you think we'll ever traverse that planet? And you said you can astral project straight out there within the meditation, or you can do it. So what it is breaking down, let's say, the Newtonian fabric of 3D reality It's breaking down for some, and we're finding the new science, our science, the super duper 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 beings can do many things. And going to add on that, most people I've spoken to and I've listened to other shows that either when they've had an ET contact or the third eye, what we call the third eye, we're using it as an analogy, opens up, then some superhuman gifts start to come out, whether it's telekinesis, clairvoyance, spirit world, and knowing, automatic writing, or you're on your show, you're talking to this really academic guest, and it comes out your mouth, all this knowledge, and you're going, where the fuck did that come from? It just, have you found that as well as you've been on this journey?
Oh, big time. I feel like the show itself wouldn't be as good if I wasn't channeling some kind of information.
Yes.
I don't know if it's channeling. I don't know if it's downloading I don't know if it's being like, if I'm pulling it like a magnet out of the ether. I don't know.
Could be the Akashic records. I have no idea what it is. It comes in spontaneous. Yeah.
Somehow it comes in, because now I played football for about 20 years. Contact football. And I mean, I played linebacker. I guarantee you I've had over 100 concussions in my life.
Yeah.
I go through these times where like, I feel like I'm not even thinking, like I'm just here. And, and I get caught on a lot of things that, like I'll just get brain farts all the time, brain fog, brain farts and all that stuff. And I'll be into a show and I'll be like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to even pull this one out tonight, because I'm just not there today. And somehow, as soon as the show starts, bang, I'm like, they're not even my thoughts. Sometimes they're not even, because I just feel like the stuff that I say, it's like, I don't even remember even thinking about that certain topic or that certain subject. How could I even have an opinion on something I've never even thought about? And it's so strange. And, and just remembering certain things that I should have forgotten about by now. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely, I'm pulling it from somewhere. Something's out there. And, I mean, everybody talks about how we're 3-dimensional. Maybe we're going up to 4D. Maybe we're going up to 5D. I don't know about all that. Maybe we are. But I think that right now, like, especially in the age of information where we're at right now. Yeah. I mean, this is the best time to ever be alive.
Oh my God. I remember years ago, some people saying this, this is the best time to be alive. And I always used to go, just fuck off and leave me alone. Just go away, but now it's my turn to say, it's so spontaneous. It's like, you don't practice the law of attraction. You are the law of attraction is another one. You are, and it's coming quicker and quicker and quicker. It's just opened up exponentially for me. But I agree with you. The change is, you can't even, and sometimes I don't script for my shows. I like them organic. Before the guy says, should we talk about this? This is, or what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? And then if I'm going on another show, they say, what do you want to talk? I said, no, you just ask me. It will come in. I will answer you whatever. If I don't know something, I won't know it. When I do my shows, and sometimes that feeling, you get, ooh, like you just said, I in here to the guys, I go, help me. And then I feel this heat. And then my guest starts talking, it goes, boom, it just comes out. There's no intermediary. And then I'm going, then I recognize me at the back going, wow, that sounded cool. Where did that come from?
I was practicing to be a real estate agent a couple years ago, and I got into like learning how other people got rich and stuff like that. And I read it's one of the most famous books ever even written. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it was all money centric and mindset centric pretty much all the way through the book. But then you get right there at the end and you're like, aha, I see what you've been doing this whole time. What he was doing is that he created these characters. Like every night he creates these characters in his mind, and they're not even his real friends. Some of them are probably already dead. Maybe they're fictional, but they lived in real life.
Yeah.
He was, some would say he was pretending. I think that maybe he was channeling these people, and he would talk to Abraham Lincoln or George Washington
Yeah.
or other very regal leaders, and he would sit on his couch or wherever he was, maybe at his kitchen table, and he would have these people surrounding him in his mind. And he would just close his eyes, and he would bounce ideas off of these people. All right,
Yeah.
what do you think? What should I do? And he would get, Honest Abe, his opinion, and like all these people. And I just kept on thinking, like, okay. And this was somebody, Napoleon Hill, he was somebody who was not very religious. This part, he actually didn't even want this part in the book until after he died, because it was against, like, because back in the 50s and 60s, they were extremely religious, and a lot of people hated him for it, even still. And so I just kept on thinking, like, man, if we all just had that, if we all just, like, in our mind, I mean, maybe you're going to think that you're pretending. Maybe you think that you're just making things up in the beginning. And even he said that. But over time, it worked for him, and he became very successful. I mean, and all the people that he talked to, this is where he got these ideas. Yeah. And it's the same thing. I just started reading the Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anybody that is interested in all this spiritual stuff, that is the book to read. It is absolutely amazing. This dude just travels all the way around the world, and he's talking to all these different yogis and all these spiritual specialists, and it's one of the most amazing books. But yeah, I mean, there's something else out there, and you got to search for it. That's really all you got to do.
I think you're going to have the curiosity of Alice in Wonderland. I mean, I don't know about in America. In this country, we were raised, curiosity kills the cat. Negative. No, curiosity is good. But you were talking about what you spoke about. There was a Nikola Tesla, and even Einstein would, in a meditative state, dream state, talk to other beings and work out mathematical equations. Is that not real? So how can it be, demons and all of this? Well, look what Einstein created. Look what Tesla created. And in fact, I think, and even Carl Jung spoke about this as well, the psychologist, about these other beings. And did Tesla, Einstein, and even Jung, and I'm sure there's many more, did they imagine it wasn't real? How the fuck did they get all that information to advance the physical 3D world? That's what I'm saying. So maybe we should all try that. What do you think?
I think it couldn't hurt. I mean, what else could happen? And it's kind of like with anything else, like, you got to practice it. Like, you can't just try it one time and say, oh, that's stupid, or something like that. Like, you got to really practice it and have a goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have a goal with it, because if you don't have a goal and you just, I mean, my dad always said, like, if you, what's the saying? If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Yeah. And so you got to have a goal with it. My personal goal is, I just want to be able to astral project all the time. Like, that's my favorite thing to do, and just, like, live in that ether realm where I don't have a physical body. Yeah. I can just float around and see whatever I want and do whatever I want, and participate. And I mean, that's the most interesting thing. And what really got me interested so much in that is there was this guy, and he said, he was like, he was trying to astral project one night, and he was practicing for months and months, and he just felt like he was wasting his time. So he tried to do it one more time. And he was like, all right. He was like in some apartment building in New York City, and he was meditating and trying to astral project. And so he was like, I think I'm actually there. Like, he felt like he was outside of his body. He goes, I don't think that I'm making this up. He went all the way down. He was like, I'm going to try and see how far I can take this. He went all the way down to, like, a Walgreens or something like that, some little store, and went in there, and he said, all right. He was trying to like knock things off the shelf, and he was like not having like really any success with that. And he was like, all right, well, my physical body and my, you know, my ethereal body are two totally different things. I don't have the force behind it. So he was trying to like look around things to see if there was any one specific thing that he could remember. And so he was like, the cashier is wearing this bright yellow shirt, like obviously not a work shirt. It was just like maybe a shirt that she chose from home. And so she was wearing that, and he was like, all right, now I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go walk down to this Walgreens and see if she's actually there. If she's there, then I know I did it right. And so he gets back and he walks down there, and he gets into the store and he's looking around for her. And at that register, she wasn't there. And he was like, oh, man, I thought I got so far. Like it felt so real. How, like, what else do I got to do? So he's like, you know what, while I'm here, I'm going to grab, you know, a carton of milk and some eggs and maybe some cereal. He's walking around. He's hanging out there for like 15, 20 minutes, just looking, you know, he's kind of bummed out. And he goes to finally check out. And there she was standing right there. And I was like, that right there is the most believable thing. So I've been trying to get there myself.
Have you? How are you doing? I mean, hold on a minute. I always say we astral project into this reality every day when we're in the what you call the sleeping state consciousness. That's our natural state, because we're off everywhere enjoying. But that's what I say. But however, from this form, from the avatar form, I've done it a few times. I found when it was with ETs, like floating me through walls and windows. I mean, like, wow. You go and go. I mean, you just can't. It's like, wow, because you're going through what we thought was matter. Coming back, I remember coming back too quick once into my body. It was like a big pop and pain. It was pain. So I decided I don't like that. I don't mind you going off with ET craft and, you know, whatever that needs to be done. I don't mind the beings coming in and talking, but I wasn't one for that. Yeah, I think we've all got our own little, you know, little sort of like unique way of experiencing this. But I want to come back to you. Tell me about some of your most profound astral projections.
Well, my favorite actually haven't come during meditation. I'm very, I tried to cancel out the left brain, and for some reason I keep on like telling myself, oh no, I'm just making this up. I'm trying to get past that. And I've been doing it for years. All right. Like it's a muscle that you just got to work. But the best success I've had with it was whenever I was the couple of times that I was hypnotized to go to a past life. And that right there is more real than real, in my opinion, because it's so come to life. It is, it's just, I've been hypnotized twice. I was hypnotized for 3 hours the first time and 2 hours the next time. And I'm visiting these past lives. And the first one was just so incredible. And you know, two very different things. One of them, I was here, but it was like maybe it was a different timeline. Maybe it was a different era. But I was like a pirate on a pirate ship, and I got to see like all these drunken pirates, and you know, they're all like pissed off, but we actually docked up one day, and I guess it was just a day that we were just taking a break, and we were just docked up to this island, and I was just like, everybody else is sleeping in, like it's a very peaceful morning, I'm gonna go walk around this island, see what I can find. And I remember just walking around, and everything was so vivid, everything, like the colors, like the animals, that when I looked up into the sky, I was like, this feels like I'm in a movie. It felt like I was the main character to a movie. And that's really all life is anyway.
But that's true. Yeah.
And I just, it was an amazing life. I actually posted both of those for anybody that wants to go see them, but, it was, very amazing. The second past life, I was not even a human. I don't know if you want to call it a guardian or a god or something. And I was like overseeing this part of the galaxy. Like I had like 3 planets that I was like monitoring. And if everything was, if anything ever got out of hand, if there was ever an asteroid or anything like that, I would just like slap it away like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, man, like the people down there, because I could see like how their lives are going, and they're very stressed out and very
Yeah.
fearful of everything. And I just remember
You know,
thinking,
this
man,
resonate with me. I'll tell you in a minute. Go on, go on.
I just remember thinking, man, if they would just call on me, if they knew I was here, I would be able to help them.
Yeah.
And I remember just getting so frustrated because there's wars and there's famine and there's like people that are just so stressed. It was like not even a life worth living. And I remember like I was like, I got to talk to somebody. I got to get out of this. And so I went up to, man, if I don't know who it was. I mean, in my opinion, what he looked like was Odin. He just looked like a king with a long beard and long hair and a giant staff. And I just went up to him and I was like, look, I feel like I'm not really making a difference over here. I feel like my difference would be made better if I just had some boots on the ground. And so I went up to him and I told him that. He was like, so you want to go down there? And I was like, yes, I think that I would just have a much better presence and I would be able to help the people. And he goes, well, your wish is my command. And I just remember him saying that, and he took his staff and he laid one staff on this shoulder and then he put it on this shoulder. And as soon as he touched my head, I just instantly went zoom, and I was awakened inside of a woman's belly. And that was the end. Like, and I was getting ready to be born as a human. It was just, I mean, so
that's beautiful. I love it. I mean, when you started over, I went, no, it can't be the same as mine. You know the orange analogy? Well, here's my part of it. That was fantastic. I have memories, and it comes through slowly through the years. And I remember being above this planet Earth. I remember this with the other beings, the gods. It was the gods, and that's where you really, and you know, it was the gods. Okay. And we're round. I remember that part of it, not all of it, because I've never gone into regression or hypnotism, but I have that awareness. And there's other parts of it. And I remember coming down, and the gods were coming down. I mean, the gods. You're talking Poseidon. You're talking all like that. You know, the real deal. The demigods, we can call them, or whatever you want to call them. And I was coming down with them. Yeah, and I was with this one main one. I can't recall all of it. And we were going through the land, through earth and whatever. And we started to look at the people like you. And there were people, why are they starving? What's happened? Like, what's gone wrong? Why are they starving? And there was this is, it was so real. I was manifesting fruit for the children. They were starving. They had nothing. And I was manifesting them, all this food for the children was going around. And then we were like flying or moving or whatever, going around, just checking, like, what's happened? It shouldn't have been this way or something like that. And then I remember when I come down, it's like, vroom, I was like, it was a powerful being. And I remember seeing like a jail or something, and there were people being tortured and there was chains, and I just went like that. Everything fell off, and all the beings, all the humans woke up to who they were. Even the torturer and the victim. There was no torturer, there was no victim. And that's when their memories is where I know about don't take life too seriously. Does that make sense to you? But it's very similar to yours. And I was with them. And you maybe related to your outer body thing. Another thing, I sort of got the urge, or no one told me to do it, but way back was to control that I know I'm jumping back, but the outer body experiences where I got into it. They said, sit in the chair, go into that space, then come out of your body and do a somersault and come back. It took me about 9 months to separate. And I know I've digressed slightly, but I forgot to say that. And do you know how hard it is to close your eyes and do a somersault backwards and sit back down and see everything from here I just thought of that. But yeah, sorry about that. I had to throw that one in. But my experiences are similar to yours. So do you think we're the gods?
I mean, I think that there's a great chance that we are. And I know that
Alan Watts
I,
says we are. Alan Watts is my mentor. I
I
loved him, still do.
yes, Alan Watts is the man.
He's the man.
Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, because oh my God, I've gone down like so many videos with him and all of his
Oh, tell
speeches.
me
And
about
just
it.
like my thing, my I know that there's a stigma to that. Like, are
Yeah.
we gods? And people then talk about the Luciferian agenda, where they think that their opinion is that we're all gods, and it's like, I can have an opinion about what we are,
Yeah.
without these dogmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I
I
agree.
don't I
Yeah.
don't like to be grouped into anything.
No.
Like I like my experience is my experience. I'm
Yeah.
not having an experience because I believe a certain way, or I'm looking at the world through a certain lens. I don't like that. And
Yeah.
that's the problem with a lot of these religious
Yeah.
ideologies or occults,
Mhm.
is that you're looking through everything through this lens.
Yes.
And that is the point. Like, you got to get rid of the veil. What do you think? I talked to my fiance, and I God bless her heart, she is very Christian. But I talked to her and I'm just like, what do you believe? Like, what do you think we're doing here? And she just quotes everything from the Bible. And I just say, damn, it wouldn't it be so much fun to figure that out on your own?
I mean, it's true, but I see it now. I mean, I interact with all denominations, and and I say, what do you believe? And they say this, that, and that, and I say, good on you. You can, in my head, you came here to experience that. I respect their journey, like your fiance. You respect her journey. It's just her journey. I understand what you're saying. I don't have the dogma on me at all. I have no issue. I don't give a flying fudge what anyone thinks about me. Um, their opinions are none of my business. Um, but this thing about the gods, I touched on it earlier on, is I've experienced similar to what you've experienced and some other things. And I know many others that have experienced it. So, well, earlier on I said, do you think we're ET? And are ET the gods? We don't know, but I know I've experienced it. Not in a past life, nothing. I just know it. And I remember, how about this one? I remember these beings on the right and left of me showing me how to be human. Human concepts. This is how murder happens. This is what happens when the energy goes into the anger, negative. And I was being, I have that. So why can't Alan Watts be right? I think Alan Watts is right,
I think it's very well possible. I
are
don't
the
know. Like I said, the whole stigma around everything and like the words. I think it's the words.
Who cares? Come on, Jonathan. I mean, it will be fun. It's just, but then even the arseholes, which we were once, and maybe I still am an arsehole now and again, they're the gods too, playing the role. Don't take life too seriously. I know when I talk to some people, and I really get into that space, and I think, you're awake, aren't you? You're playing a game with me. You know who you are. Do you ever get that with other people? Even
all the time, and that's a dangerous game to play, because then you start laying expectations on people and you're not sure.
Yeah, I'm just like, something says they're acting. I think, could it be, do you think, that we actually are starting to see their true being, but they're not aware of it? Is it that?
It's very possible. I think back to like that movie with Jim Carrey called The Truman Show.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I love that movie. And he's talking, he's finally figuring out, like, yo, this is not the real thing. I feel like I'm being played as a fool. And he goes and talks to his best friend, which of course is an actor in the movie. Yeah. And he goes and talks to him and he's like, I don't think any of this is real. And the best friend goes, if none of this is real, then that means I'm not real either. And I was just thinking, oh my God, dude, like, this guy is coming to a realization. You're not a good friend. You're not a real friend. You're just part of the matrix.
I agree. Didn't he, though? Didn't he though, after the making of the film, take on the persona, the personality, the identity of the actor he was playing for some time, and that's when he awoke, because he went, well, if I can switch to that, then who am I? Because he took on the character. Didn't he take on the personality for some time?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the guy. I know what movie you're talking about though, and he actually like for an entire year he took on the personality, and
Yes,
he was
yes,
like pissing people off in real life.
yes,
And, but
yes.
that's the beautiful thing about Jim Carrey too, is like, you know, he sees like this is what we get upset about. It doesn't have to be that way. Like, you know, it's a beautiful thing whenever you come to the realization that like what you thought the world was isn't
It's,
at all.
it's nothing. And I want to go back to Alan Watts, because obviously, you know, the way he portrays it and the way he talks about it, it's so rational. It's just so, it's right. It's a knowing, and you know, and the joy that man brought me, the laughter. You know, don't take yourself too serious. Okay, it's a blast. Okay, you're here to have fun. You still have responsibility. You still got to play the role and blah de blah. But when you have that, and you see the other beings as just gods playing their role to have the experience. I mean, some people say we're creator gods, so I don't know. Maybe we're creator gods or just a god. I don't know. But still, instead, when you get to that reference point, that point zero, you get out of the way, because you know, life is you. You don't have to work through life. Life is you. You are life. And if you are the creator God life, then there really is nothing to worry about, is there?
I think that it's really all based upon what do you want out of this life? Like, what do you really want? Do you want to give
Take the fuck
yourself a
up.
good life? You don't want to be an asshole. You want to be a nice person. You want to raise your kids right. You want to treat your significant other right. You want to create some good memories. Okay, well, what lens gives you the best opportunity to have that?
Yeah.
And does thinking that you're a creator God, does that work for you in your favor, or does it turn you into more of an asshole? If it turns you into more of an asshole, then probably think of a different route. But if it works for you,
Go for it.
then go for it. Why wouldn't you go for it? Who cares? I mean, maybe don't even tell anybody about it. You don't like, if you're telling somebody something, you're expecting an opinion, just keep it to yourself at that point.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I personally like to believe that I am some sort of creator God, and that
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm the almighty. I'm not saying that I'm the most powerful or anything like that. But I do believe that I'm much more than just flesh and bone. I'm much more than just a couple of electrons and neutrons and
Yeah.
and all that stuff firing all at the same time to create some kind of magical thing. No, like we're something very important. We're something very special, and I think that
So
the
is
best way.
everybody else. And this is it. When you have the opening of the third eye, the self-realization, you look at another, and so are they, and they're just playing their role. And he does the Alan Watts talks about the analogy of the stage, doesn't he? We go on and play the characters, and then when the film's over, the play's over, we go back to the green room, yeah, and we take off the character. We said Jim Carrey carried it for a bit longer. That woke him up, and then he bumped into Eckhart Tolle. That even more woke him up, you know. And then if you just got to listen to Alan Watts, and the whole world just goes, thump, you're just there, because it's resonates and makes sense. But I don't have an issue, and everyone, and the more that I sort of come out the closet, because it is a gentle thing, you really need to resonate with that truth. It takes time to get to the point to say, hey babe, I'm a god. How about you? But a few years ago, I kept it to myself, because I hadn't connected to that frequency, that knowing. I had to experience more. I had to do work on myself, whether it was anger, a victim mode, or whatever, Trevor, you know, experiences. And then it come a point I went, I have no issue being a god. And you're a god too, by the way. So don't have any conflict with me. And then, you know, when I've had religious people say, that's blasphemous, you're going to burn for eternity, and hot coals are going to go down there, and all the rest of the lovely stuff that's in all the Abrahamic religions. I say, okay, creation in your faith, and the three of them especially, says that God, got the mud and all that, and he breathed inside. So I got God inside. Hello?
Yep.
Then they normally go, and they stop for a bit. I said, so I just believe I've got a bit more God in me than you. That's all. You know what I mean? But it does tend to open a conversation because that's in their scripture. Their scripture said, and God breathed in and created man and woman. I don't know. I've never had a problem since. Do not send me hate mails. I'm an elderly woman in a village, okay? And I'm insane. But no, I think if everyone stood up who really believed they were even a spark of God or superhuman, as you call it, we would live that reality, would we not? You create your reality, Jonathan.
Yeah, there would be a lot less people complaining that the government isn't doing enough for them, and a lot less people, just living terrible lives. Like if you knew that you were more powerful, even if you got to fake it till you make it, if you knew it, you wouldn't be getting anxious. You wouldn't have, depression, anxiety. Like all of your decisions wouldn't be based upon fear. They'd be based upon, oh,
Excellent.
I love this. I'm going to do it because
Yeah.
it looks fun. This
Yeah.
is where you got to have the personality, the mindset of a little kid. Little kids aren't scared to jump off the top of the couch. They're not scared to jump off of a refrigerator. Like I remember when I was a little kid, we loved that movie Jackass. And we just always wanted to do the most outrageous things. And there was nothing we were scared of. And, and with age, you start getting a bit more wise, I guess. But with that also comes.
I don't know about wise. I think with age you become more conditioned, but it's part of the process. You have to forget just for a while. Why? Because you come here to experience polarity, opposites, resistance, to have that experience. I mean, you look at the other dimensional beings or ETs or whatever you want to call them, guides, it doesn't matter. Ascended masters, even, they don't have polarity. It's all telepathic. One, there's no secrets, but they don't have a resistance. It's harmonious frequencies between their experience, so to speak. We came here, especially the gods, to experience this and overcome it. I mean, the analogy, you must know it, Alan Watts give, is if you could dream a dream that lasted 75 years, and in the first dream, you'd go and experience all the pleasures of the world, would you not? Yes. And then you'd wake up, yeah. And you go, oh, I want a bit more challenging, yeah. And then I'm going to go and be a villain, yeah, because it's a dream. It's just you experiencing an experience, the perception, and you go in and you're a villain and you're a gangster and all of that, and then you get shot and you go, wow, that was really absolutely amazing. I'm really now want to experience something, but I don't want to remember who I am. I don't want that. But I'm going to put some breadcrumbs in the experience just to keep me on track. And you come back in and you go along and you experience this and heartbreak and sadness, or there's a war here and there's a disease there, and then one day you wake up and you think, I'm sitting here talking to Jonathan Meyers. What a blast that journey was. Do you get it? Do you get it? That's Alan Watt. I plagiarized it and I killed it. He did it better. But that's my interpretation of what we're going through. And why can't you ask, what if?
That's
true.
the biggest question. That's the biggest question, is just trying to figure out. I don't know. I mean, I talk to people all the time, and I always ask them, like, going down this spiritual journey, like, what's the point of all of it? Are we going to eventually get to a point where we're like, I figured it out, and then what? Like, you still have to live the rest of your life. You still have to go pay your bills. You still have to, feed your kids. You still have to have good relationships with all the people around you. The goal here is to just make it a pleasant one. And I mean, that's in my opinion. I want it to be as pleasant as possible. I mean, if
to
I
me,
got to,
I don't have a goal. I found through my self-awareness is there is no suffering. Happenings happen. I can hurt my arm. There's pain, but there's no suffering. Someone's an arsehole, calls me a name. Yeah, okay, bye. There's no suffering. There's no fear. There's no fear of death. There's no fear of outcomes. And it's a trust. It doesn't matter, even if it matters. And it's the play of life. And then you start to go with the flow. And as I said before, at one point, everyone tried the law of attraction. This is how you do it in the mantras and whatever. At some point, you are that law of attraction. If you're a creator being, a creator God, you're a manifester. And it comes to the point where anything you think, and that's what's happening to many people I know, and including myself, you think of something, it's right there. There's no time anymore. It's getting shorter. It's like a quickening is occurring. Have you experienced that recently? So I've got to check with you. Everything's quickening.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what it is. I don't know if time's moving faster or if my perception of time is moving faster. But there's definitely things that are happening a lot quicker. Like it doesn't seem like even just Christmas. That was a long time ago now. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it was. And like, my parents live in another state. They live out in Arizona. I live in Louisiana. And so it doesn't feel like it's been 4 months since I've seen my mom for Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm resonating with, that comes to me, we're stepping out of time. We're just experiencing. And because I and others, I've heard this as well, we're all experiencing it slightly different ways, but we're stepping out of time, literally, because obviously the time-space continuum is part of the illusion of the 3D experience. But for me, time is less and less in my awareness. Like, yes, you're having a hospital appointment. Yes, you've got to be at work at a certain time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you've just said, the experiences. It's like if you take off time, you're just being and experiencing constantly. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think that whenever you're going through a hard time, or if you're suffering in any kind of way, like it drags out a lot slower. And whenever you're having a great time and things are just going very smooth, things go by a lot faster. And that's why I'm not really one for the concept of time. I think that just like, your perception either speeds things up or drags things out, whatever's happening to you, whatever's going on in your life. So I think that once, as I like to say, once you open up your third eye, life just really speeds on by. Because there's nothing that can go wrong, nothing that can affect you. Things are happening, and they might be terrible things, but how are they affecting you? If they're not affecting you as, the old dumb caveman would, like, then it's going to go by a lot faster. I mean, and knock on wood, if I break my leg right now, it would probably go by a lot faster now than it would 5 years ago.
Oh, hell yeah. Healing. Another thing, healing seems to be is part of the illusion, is speeding up, which again, I think we're stepping out of time, and we're still having the human experience. And by stepping out of time, where there's no suffering, there's no trauma, yet you experience pain, you experience pleasure, because you're still here to experience a human experience. However, that statement is enough for me at the moment, until someone comes up with anything better, That sounded a bit arrogant. I didn't mean it that way, but for me, it's the only one. Sorry about that. I'm trying to articulate something that's so paradoxal and against Newtonian laws, if you know what I mean. Whatever, that it's really hard to express this. But for me, if I'm stepping out of time, time doesn't matter anymore. I'm aware of it. It's there for certain things, but I don't live by time no more. So there's no suffering of that. And so
Right.
you were saying about your mum. So if you step out of time, your mum, say you really want to see your mum, and then when you leave your mum, normally it's a long time to see him and you're suffering, your heart hurts and whatever. I'm trying to give an analogy here, and more likely killing it. But when you step out of time like you're doing, you'll see her, then you'll see her again. And you're unaware there's been 4, 6, 8 months between it. Does that make sense now? Did I get it right there?
Oh, big time. Because now instead of holding on to that suffering of not being able to see her, now I'm not thinking about it because I don't want to suffer. I know what causes me to suffer, and I look at that and I say I would rather spend my time doing something else.
Yes,
and it's not that it doesn't affect me in any kind of way. I'm not heartless. I'm not soulless.
No.
It's more so I know I would rather do different things with my energy than suffer.
I agree with you. Do you know what? I knew we would have the most amazing conversation. It has been absolutely uplifting, inspiring, and it's so nice to be able to share. I totally forget there's an audience out there, and that tomorrow, the next day, next week, hundreds, thousands of people are going to watch it. I'm talking to you, and it's so organic, and I knew it would be fun. I want to thank you so much for discussing your journey and opening up the third eye. But before we go, you've got to tell us, where can we get hold of you? Blah de blah. Haul yourself out now.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. We are. Name of the podcast is Cult of Conspiracy. We talk about everything from religious ideologies to anything spiritual to all conspiracies. There's nothing that we don't talk about. There's never a lack of things to talk about on our show. So you're never going to get bored. You're never going to hear the same thing twice. So if you're interested in hearing anything like that, we are on all podcasts everywhere, Apple, Spotify, the list goes on. We're also, if you would like to see video, we don't mess with YouTube anymore. We kept on getting banned. So now we are on Rockfin. So if you go to rockfin.com/cult of conspiracy, you can sign up on there. It's much better platform, very free speech. Outside of that, we have Instagram. TikTok is our big one. We have it's Cult of Conspiracy 37. So anybody's interested, we appreciate all the love and all the affection that we can get on all of those platforms.
Well, and on that note, I want to thank you again. It's been a blast, and congratulations again on the new baby coming along.
Thank you.
If another you in the universe, it's going to be hell. You do know that. No, but congratulations. And for all those that have supported Open Minds Chat Show, whether you watch live or you watch on the replay when you're free, having your cup of coffee, I do hope you've enjoyed this show. Please know, take from our chat, me and Jonathan's, so it resonates, take it. If it doesn't resonate, put it to one side, okay? Until the next time, I'm Gloria, and this is Open Minds Chat Show. Bye for now, guys.